Welcome to another episode of the Nagging Debate podcast talk show, where we discuss all the fun and crazy topics that you love, brought to you by WeRate.Stream. Today, we're embarking on a deep dive into, well, a classic rivalry, Marvel versus DC Comics. For many, I think the lines have blurred quite a bit, and you might think, is there really a difference anymore? But what if there is still some core distinctions, in their themes, storytelling, maybe even how they build their worlds, things that really define why they still appeal to us in different ways? That's sort of our mission today. Figure out those fundamental differences that might still exist.
That's right. It's true that, creators jump between both publishers all the time. And some argue the output is pretty much homogenous now. However, if you look closely, I think those enduring differences do persist. Often they reflect the foundational philosophies that each company started with. And those philosophies influence nothing, really. Character development, narrative scope.
Okay, so foundational philosophies. Let's unpack that. What about the central themes? People often say Marvel zeroes in on the trees, right? The individual, the very real personal cost of being a hero. Like Spider-Man, he's always grappling with everyday stuff, bills, college. Makes him incredibly relatable. And the X-Men, that's a huge commentary on bigotry, discrimination.
Yeah.
Very real-world issues.
Yeah, and they often weave in actual history, too. The Cold War, Vietnam.
Yeah.
It's right there in the stories.
Exactly. It's about how these huge events affect the person down at the street level. Does that focus, though? Does it make them more relatable universally, or maybe sometimes keep them from, soaring quite as high?
Oh, that's a great point, and it really highlights the contrast with DC, because they tend to focus more on the forest. Their heroes think Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman. They're often these aspirational figures. They embody strong moral convictions. They often embrace their roles quite enthusiastically. They're meant to inspire humanity, sort of on a grander scale.
Yeah. Okay. So DC explores more the societal impact, like how having superheroes around changes things.
Exactly. How does government react? How does the media portray them? What's the overall cultural effect? Batman, for instance. He isn't just a guy in a suit. He's like an intrinsic feature of Gotham City itself. He influences its whole fabric. Their stories often ask, how does a hero fundamentally reshape society?
That's a really interesting way to put it. So given these different approaches, what about where the powers actually come from? How do their worlds differ there? Marvel often leans pretty heavily into science, right? Mutations, gamma experiments.
Yeah, science-based origins are definitely a Marvel staple. Captain America's experiment, Hulk's gamma bomb.
Right.
And that's where DC often goes a different route. They tend to draw power from external sources, often more fantastical ones. Things like magic, aliens, mythology. Superman's an alien. Green Lantern uses alien tech. Wonder Woman's rooted in mythology.
Okay, so science versus external sources. What about character growth?
That's another area people point to. DC is often seen as maybe more willing to let characters genuinely evolve over the long term. You see figures like Nightwing growing beyond just being Robin, Superman getting married, having a family. Marvel, on the other hand, sometimes seems to maintain more of a status quo, keeping characters like Spider-Man kind of perpetually in that relatable struggle phase. Which, some argue helps keep them fresh for new generations. It's a trade-off.
Interesting. And beyond the stories and powers, what about just the look, the visual identity? People often mention art style differences, like DC being maybe more realistic, darker, lots of shading.
Yeah, that's a common perception.
While Marvel is seen as maybe more dynamic, brighter, more apparent color sometimes.
That's often said, yeah.
Yeah.
But visual style is just one piece. How does all this play out in the market today? Because that's a big factor.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, financially speaking, it's hard to ignore Disney's Marvel ecosystem. It's been dominant. They leverage everything, streaming, parks, merchandise. It's this huge integrated machine.
Right. Very synergistic.
Exactly. Warner Bros. Discovery's DC division, they've faced more challenges, often due to sort of inconsistent vision over the years. But there's definitely a promising new direction now under James Gunn. Superman recently outgrossed Marvel's Fantastic Four, first steps in its opening weekend. That hints at a potential shift, maybe a renewed focus for DC.
Okay, so things might be changing there.
Yeah.
So pulling this all together, what does this mean for you listening right now when you're picking up a comic or deciding what movie to watch? I guess if you prefer heroes who feel really relatable, dealing with everyday problems, that personal toll, maybe stories tied into social commentary, then Marvel might be your go-to. It taps into that feeling that, a superhero could be living next door.
Right. Conversely, if you're drawn more to inspiring, maybe archetypal figures, grander narratives that explore the big societal questions, compelling villains, and maybe seeing characters actually evolve into new roles over time, then DC might resonate more deeply. Ultimately, it really comes down to what qualities you personally value most in a superhero story. There's no single right answer.
Absolutely. So, thinking ahead, as both universes keep evolving, you've got new creative leaders, shifting market dynamics. What other transformations might we see? And will these distinct identities we've talked about, Marvel and DC, will they continue to hold firm, do you think? Or are they going to converge even further? Something to ponder, I suppose. We hope you enjoyed another one of our episodes. Go ahead and leave a comment below to tell us what you think. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for early hidden episodes. And of course, leave a comment to tell us what you think. See you next time.